Hello kind people of YouTube and welcome back to another video. Today once again, in the same vein as my last video, I want to talk about things that are more important than the day-to-day movements of the cryptocurrency market. If you look at just the plain numbers in the market right now, it's not looking that great. We've seen a bit of a crash the last couple of days. As we see here right now, it's recovering the tiniest bit, but everything is significantly down from where it was just a short while ago. Nice to see XRP doing a bit better than the rest of the market though. But that isn't actually what's important. What's important is how many people are pushing money into the crypto markets. So today I have 3 stories picked out that once again kind of outline the argument that I'm trying to make here. And these are also just happen to be the most important probably stories of the last day or two, at least as far as new developments in the mainstreaming of cryptocurrency. So let's start with Bakkt launching a new product very, very soon. Now Bakkt of course has recently finally gone live. And quite a lot of trading has already happened on it with their Bitcoin futures physically settled, which are pretty much a completely new thing in the crypto market. But now they want to add another new option to their services. So let's read this together. The Intercontinental Exchange is launching Bitcoin options contracts through its subsidiary Bakkt. Bakkt announced Thursday that it would launch the first regulated options contract for Bitcoin futures, adding a new product to its current slate of physically settled Bitcoin futures contracts. CEO Kelly Loeffler said in a Medium post that the contracts were built in response to customer feedback and that ICE Futures US self-certified the contract through the US Commodities Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, who, oh my god, they've given us so many problems in the past, but now they're actually approving stuff. We're committed to bringing trust and utility to digital assets, and the options contract is an example of the many products we're developing for regulated markets, she wrote. The Bakkt Bitcoin options contract will be based on the benchmark Bakkt monthly Bitcoin futures contract and represents another important step in developing the asset class for institutional investors, their customers, and investors. Notably, customers will have the choice of options contracts settled with cash, meaning customers receive the fiat equivalent to the contract's value at expiration, or physically, meaning they receive the actual Bitcoin. And this is why this was so exciting, because these physically settled futures are a way of investing in crypto through a product that the traditional financial world understands and actually getting paid in crypto. That is a big difference to speculating and getting paid in fiat. That shows so much more faith and trust in the crypto markets to have them physically settled. When Bakkt launched its Bitcoin futures contract a month ago, the company saw low trading volume. However, it appears to have picked up in recent days. Now, let's just see what they consider low here. There hasn't been a single day where trading volume has been under... There's not a single day where open interest has dropped under 200,000, and a lot of days have seen trading volume well over 500,000 US dollars. You have to keep in mind, while this is directed at the mainstream investor, at the hedge fund, at the institutional investor, this is still very much new, and it's not reasonable to expect a massive influx of money from the day it's launched. This will be a long-term thing, but if you add all of this daily volume together, you're gonna see quite a lot more going on there, and it looks like this might already be the settlement of some of the first month's contracts. Loeffler added, "We've been working closely with market participants to build liquidity, create market transparency, and build open interest. Notably, we saw a record 590 contracts of Bakkt Bitcoin monthly futures change hands yesterday. We also completed a milestone with seamless physical deliveries in both our daily and monthly Bitcoin futures contracts." See, 590 doesn't sound that big, but once again, keep in mind how many different investors this is. Most of them are going to start with relatively small sums. We'll see how this all plays out, and will then choose to invest more based both on how the market is moving and on their experience with this particular product. Bakkt is joining CME in launching options. The Chicago-based exchange announced it would launch Bitcoin options on top of its futures contracts in the first quarter of 2020. So this is very much the direction we're seeing the markets move. Why is this important? Because this is yet more ways that investors will be able to buy into the crypto markets. And this is yet another way that a lot of money will flow in, money that we won't necessarily see, because these are big investors. They don't like to make their developments public. They're not going to buy crypto on public exchanges. They are going to use products like these designed specifically for the traditional finance world. And that will massively open up the crypto market long term. And I would argue it is already happening. Refer back to my last video where I went on at length about how I think the market is currently being manipulated by these big forces, by these institutional investors in huge companies. And that, I believe, is why the price is currently where it is and not much higher. But anyway, there is another product launch coming up that is very much going in a similar direction. So let's read this one as well. Galaxy Digital to launch 2 new Bitcoin funds in November. See how many products are launching. These news dropped on the same day. We get news like this almost every day. Galaxy Digital Asset Management, a division of the merchant bank Galaxy Digital, is launching 2 Bitcoin funds in November. Headed by billionaire ex-hedge fund manager Michael Novogratz, Galaxy is offering the funds to give accredited investors low-fee, institutionally managed Bitcoin exposure and will make a seed investment into both funds. See, this is what it is. Institutionally managed Bitcoin exposure. People are scared of having to deal with crypto themselves. So all of these products, all of these services are rising up to give big investment firms, to give hedge funds access to the crypto markets without having to take on all the risk of dealing with it themselves. This is what the crypto market really needs for this big money to flow in. The Galaxy Bitcoin Fund will require a $25,000 minimum investment with optional quarterly redemptions. That is actually surprisingly low for something made by a former hedge fund guy. Hedge funds in particular, often have a minimum investment that's in the hundreds of thousands, sometimes in the millions. The Galaxy Institutional Bitcoin Fund will allow weekly withdrawals and require minimums higher than $25,000. Both funds will offer professional oversight of Bitcoin storage, tax documentation, and client service support. See, all of these things that a lot of people are scared of having to deal with themselves, so they outsource these to companies that specifically deal with it. Paul Capelli is the portfolio manager for both funds, though they will be passively managed, meaning the investments are automatically selected. Galaxy's asset management division is led by Steve Kurtz. It is unclear how much money Galaxy aims to raise from investors for either fund. See, this is another product directed at institutional investors, big buy-ins, large amounts of money, for investors who don't want to have to deal with the risks and insecurities and just complexities of dealing directly with cryptocurrencies, so they do it through services like this. This is the maturing of the crypto market as an asset class, and we're going to see so much money flowing into the markets, much of it in ways that we won't be able to actually recognize until years later through services like these. And seeing these 2 services, these 2 new products, actually multiple new products, because Galaxy alone is launching 2 Bitcoin funds. Seeing just the announcements of these drop on the same day, and seeing more stuff like this come out multiple times a week usually. Like, there is barely a day that passes without some new crypto product aimed at institutional investors or even aimed at mainstream investors coming out or being announced. And I know I'm repeating a lot of what I said in my last video, but this is what you need to be paying attention to. Not the day-to-day movements of the crypto market. Pay attention to the long term. Pay attention to the end game. Pay attention to what people with a lot of money, with a lot of inside knowledge are doing. Because this is what will move the markets long term. This is what the people who have the best grasp of where this will go, because they can help influence where it will go, this is what those people think will happen. They are investing in these services. There's demand for these services, else so many wouldn't be launched. Because billionaire investors, hedge funds, and all these institutional investment firms, they know that crypto is going up and up and up and up. They know that long term, this will become one of the major asset classes in the markets. And they're looking for ways in, and they're looking for ways with reasonable risk and exposure. So all of these products, those are means for a lot of money to be funneled into it discreetly, that don't turn up on CoinMarketCap. or on exchanges. Pay attention to this. And last but not least, and this is not about institutional investors, but about just your average person next door. But this was incredibly interesting because it's happening so quickly. The number of Americans owning crypto doubled in 2019. That is insane. Okay, the number of Americans who own cryptocurrencies has doubled in 2019 from 7.95% in 2018 to 14.4% in 2019. That is insane, and it's a 1-year change. Just absolutely incredible. Now, keep in mind, and it says this right here, this is a relatively small-scale survey. They asked just about 2,000 Americans. But depending on how the sample was chosen, and since this is a financial services firm, I'm going to assume that they have a lot of experience with getting a representative sample, we can still make some claims based on this, given that it is the representative sample that one would expect here. So this 14.4 might be 12, might be 16, but it's probably somewhere in this area. Titled A Rising Number of Americans Own Crypto, the survey was released on October 14th. Average $5,447 holdings versus $360 median account. This is very interesting. This difference between the average and the median, because of, I'm gonna assume that most of you know what these things are, but just as a refresher, the average is if you just take all the people who own crypto and divide the total amount by the number of people. So this is representative of the overall market and not of the individual investor. And then the median is actually, if you have 10 people who own crypto and 9 of them own $1 worth and one person owns 1,000, the average would be close to 100 because you're just multiplying by 10. The median is just the person in the middle. So the median would be $1. This tells you about how equal the amounts that people hold is. Income inequality, essentially, is what it tells you. And the fact that the average holdings are so far away from the median account, what this tells us is that, this is a massive difference, is that there are a ton, and I mean a ton, of people in the crypto markets. Half these people own under $360. So a ton of people who just invested small amounts, who are trying out the crypto market. But that won't be enough to move the markets because it's small amounts. But that means crypto is going actually mainstream. That means over 10% of American society, and this number is rising. And I'm sure America is representative of most other developed nations in this regard. Over 10% of Americans are buying small amounts of crypto as investments. This is crypto. This is not crypto going mainstream. Crypto has arrived in the mainstream. How many forms of investment are owned by 14% of any given society? How many people even have a proper retirement plan that they pay into that wasn't just forced on them by the government or by a company? How many people actually go out of their way to set up their own? That number can't be much higher. Crypto is mainstream. Crypto has arrived. And we don't really need the rest of this article because you can tell they didn't have enough information to actually write an entire article, so they go into other stuff here. But I just want you to consider this number. The interest is growing at an exponential rate. Both the institutional interest, as shown by Bakkt and Galaxy launching new crypto products. And I'm sorry if you can hear the noise in the background. I have the window open. There's a child screaming in the courtyard. But both institutional and just average person next door interest in crypto is massive. And while that is not currently reflected in the prices, this tells us all we need to know about the long-term prospects of the crypto market. This is either becoming mainstream or already mainstream as an asset class. And people are experimenting. People are putting in small amounts. People are trying different products. But that means that if these things go well, if people are satisfied, a lot more money is going to follow. So don't let the day-to-day markets get you down. I feel this is my message in every single video. Even before my long hiatus, I feel like this was my message in every single video. But this stuff is more important than the day-to-day movements. because this tells us where all of this is going long term. And it might not be 2019, it might not even be 2020 or 2021 where we see the prices explode. It might even be a slow crawl over many, many years. But it's absolutely clear to anyone who is paying attention to the things that actually matter, to these things, that crypto has a beautiful future. And I'm very happy to have gotten in early. And that's all I have to say for today. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you all soon.